¡Ve más! ¡Más! ¡Más!
Sup?
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 Hello.
What's up?
What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to Fantastic Comics Presents. This is our 43rd episode. Let me get a drink. Sorry I wasn't prepared. I was already running late. It's a heck of... we close at 5. I have 3 hours, and for some reason I'm always running late. Welcome to Fantastic Comics Presents. This is our 43rd episode. We do this weekly every Tuesday, barring any holidays, which I guess we haven't had any since we've done the Fantastic Comics Presents. Thank you for tuning in. For those of you that aren't, the first time here maybe, or aren't educated, you just aren't on the in. I own Fantastic Comics in Berkeley, California. My name is Yule. And let me get this up. We're open Tuesday through Saturday from 12 to 5. We carry new comics from all companies. And we're in Berkeley, California. Yeah! Berkeley. I don't host the show by myself, at least very often. There's been one time. Every other time I get somebody else to come on. Sometimes more than one person. Today we have Bruja. Before I bring her in, let's say hi to the cast of crew out there in the audience. Right now we have 7 people watching. Hello, Christina K. Oh, she found her Stillwater too. I hope you enjoy that. And I did read number 3 and I liked it a lot. Fantinuum's here as always. Yo, yo, yo. And Jilby Pill. Hello. Battle Buddy. No swearing for 15 minutes. I don't think there would be any swearing. Unless I start getting into paper quality, and I'm talking about the cover of the comic books, because I have 2 here. I thought I was going to show you one, and then as I was trying to get the other one out of my hand, it was horrible. Bruja, that's our co-host today. She says hi. And yeah, everybody, all right, excellent. Oh, you did. Good, I'm glad to hear that. All right, let's bring Bruja in. Bruja. How are you?
Pretty good, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Actually not freezing my ass off, so hopefully we can make the show pretty good tonight.
All right. So now you said last week, because of it was overcast, that you were having audio problems, or
yeah, I have
robot
really
and stuff.
bad internet. Like every time it gets overcast, for some reason, I just get internet that drops in and out really bad, and it's a hassle.
I was listening to an interview on NPR news segment. And at the end of the interview, I forget who was saying what to who, but it basically was, or else you're going to have to come in because your internet is horrible at your house. So, somebody, if a person is in studio, it's because their internet's probably horrible at home. And they can't work it. Or, like me, from 6:30 to 9:30, Jill checked the speed. We have we're tamped down on our uploading, so everything coming out looks horrible.
Yeah,
so,
I've noticed similar problems, like when I'm just doing internet things, things that I won't admit are illegal and the whatnot.
You mean downloading stuff?
Like, there are definitely certain hours that I've noticed my internet is either like super, super fast, or it's just like no connection and it's just like drop it. Like I've had internet people come and look at it because it's been so bad, and they say the wires that are actually going down into the ground to the internet, the metaphorical internet, they're just fried. So it's not even like our router or our internet, it's like the internet that we can buy into for service that they need to, I almost cursed, they need to get off their butts and actually like fix their end of it, because like it causes us to have like daily internet like just today, like I swear, like 20 minutes after you messaged me and I was like, yeah, my internet's good, I started noticing everything going in and out, and I'm just like, okay, I just said my internet is good. Like, of course now it's going out, but then I just took a nap and it was fine.
Yeah, and these are happening during peak hours. But why does it happen? I mean, for the most part, for me, during the peak hours. I mean, I could understand. I mean, is it only because everybody's using it at the same time? I mean, we're all at home for the most part these days, and
that's what
not everybody's streaming.
Yeah, because like I'm usually like my like daytime for me is like after the show. My day is like midnight to 4 a.m. So my internet is great then. But, that's like when everyone else is asleep. So, yeah, I figure it is probably a combination of something just like traffic problems and just general connection.
Right.
But, like, traffic definitely, like, I know makes a difference for me.
The comic book La Diablo, I think it is. It had the definition of bruja.
La Diablo. Oh yeah, I can tell you all about what that means. Wait, this is a comic? Okay.
I think it might have been. Although I was thinking of something else, so maybe I'm wrong.
La Diablo.
But the last week makes me think that it was a comic. All right, so here's the view of the store right here. I have a store cam also. We'll be looking at comic books through this. Yeah, we'll just move it around. That'll be cool. All right. Yeah, Bruja. So wait, for those of you at home that don't know, so here we go. Here's La Diablo. Oh yeah, I remember. That's the Eric Powell book, or his company. Yeah, Powell's up on the cover. Yeah, good. That's the Goon guy. The guy who does Goon.
I was gonna say that art is definitely like, especially the title. That's super familiar.
Yeah, he does. They have a couple of other offshoot books, but Goon is the main comic book for Albatross Press, and that's all Eric Powell's company. And he does the Goon, and he does Hillbilly. He has an all ages horror comic book called Spook House, I think is what it's called. And there's been a few other things that they've done. Cool stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, anytime someone does an all ages horror, that gives them pretty good points for me. Like that Star Wars Adventures, or it was Vader's Castle. That's what it was. It was an all ages horror Star Wars series. Oh man, that was so good.
Wait, who did what on Star Wars?
I think it's under IDW or Disney. Mm-hmm. It's one of the all.
Oh, one of the adventures. I got you.
It's just I don't think it was one of the adventures. It was actually like a 6. I think it was a 6 issue.
Was it Vader's Castle or something like that? Yeah, and it had those really cool Francavilla covers.
Yeah, also. I bought so many of those.
Yeah,
there was one, I think it was number 3, that had a really cool Tarkin cover, and I think I ended up buying like 3 different covers of that one because they just had such cool covers.
Star Wars nut. That's you.
Yeah. Just a little.
So if you use cable, Fantinuum says, and then you can read all that other stuff if you're looking at your computer screen.
Yeah, that's what I was just like, oh, that does make sense.
Yeah. It makes sense to someone that understands any of that, but I'm going to feign all ignorance and just assume I don't know any of it.
Right.
That's probably the best way to go on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It plugs into the wall. I can do that. That's me.
I know it makes it so that I can go on internet and look at things, but I just see the internet as the Willy Wonka scene where Mike TV is, projected into little pieces. Like that's how I picture the internet. That's
okay. That is the internet, exactly. All right, so that's boring. Let's talk about you. What are you? So 2 weeks we haven't seen you. Have you been reading any comics? Or are you caught up fully on everything you've got before?
Just trying to keep up with Star Wars a little bit more. I read a book that was traumatizing, so that was fun.
Wait, you read a book that was traumatizing?
Yeah, it's Jerzy Kozinski's The Painted Bird. If you are at all familiar with that, it was published in like the 60s or the 70s, and it's one of those most challenged books because it's got like really harsh content, and a lot of it is political because it's a book about a Jewish or gypsy stray in Eastern Europe who experiences 6 years of just being an orphan in World War II times. And it's hard. It has some like really, really rough content, and it actually got a movie that was made this year or last year, and I watched it earlier this year. That is a really, really good movie, The Painted Bird, but it's probably one of the hardest things I've ever watched, and I put it up there with things like Salo, 120 Days of Sodom, with how difficult it is to get through. But the political commentary and the commentary on humanity that it goes over, oh god, it's so good, but it's just painful.
All right, so
Yeah.
Talking about hard to read books. Did you hear that in Burbank they banned 5 books recently?
No, what'd they do?
All right, they banned, check this out. To
really?
Kill a Mockingbird, Huckleberry Finn, Of Mice and Men, The K, which I don't even know that one.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then a Newbery Medal, a winning young adult classic, Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. And I guess most of it's because of, racial stuff.
Language.
Language, that kind of thing. How do you feel about that?
I think we shouldn't ban things on words as long as, like, in school, like, I'm so over things like Huckleberry Finn and all of those being the required reading, because there are so many books that provide a better perspective and explain things better in a more empathetic way that are more recent and actually written by queer people, people of color, people that actually have a personal perspective with these kinds of things rather than just old white men using slurs. So, like, while I appreciate them keeping that kind of stuff in curriculum, I think we need to update it. So them banning things like that, like, I don't think books should be banned whatsoever. Like, well, like, we're not going to get too into that, but just like the censorship of books is.
Do you
to
do
me.
you appreciate when it's a movie, maybe on a streaming service, when they have something that comes up ahead that says, this was made at this time, it's it did not observe the social observances that we do now, or however they want to state it. Do you appreciate that and then go into, maybe a Little Rascals, and oh, thank goodness that was there. Now I can enjoy my Little Rascals finally. That was not meant. I did not know that this conversation would go this way, but
Well, we can always, veer anytime you want.
No, because most recently on the Disney service, there was a Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. There's a lot of people are having a conversation on YouTube drama. They're talking about how.
Yeah, I missed this. Fill me in.
So I guess there's an episode. I know there is. There's an episode with Sunfire, and the X-Men, and Sunfire's Japanese, and I guess his accent or maybe some stereotypes of maybe culture were presented. I can't even remember because it was one of those that wasn't always aired. What I do know about it was that Wolverine had an Australian accent, and everybody was really pissed about that. Like us kids, that's what we cared about. We didn't care about,
He's Canadian, isn't he?
He's Canadian. Yeah.
That's just weird then.
Exactly. That's what we cared about. So, as kids, but so anyway, Disney has this thing, beforehand, and they're like, this Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends might be a little weird right now. So just understand it. This is a thing that happened, and just only in the 80s. It wasn't that long ago. I don't even think it was really all that harsh, but I feel that they have a desire to get out in front of it before anybody else can cause problems, or else they're gonna not be able to air something.
Well, I mean, we'll just refer back to the Golden Girls about how
Exactly.
they removed that. So, as much as I personally feel like people should just know better to realize context and perspectivism of things from different ages, look at things like Lovecraft. Lovecraft is so imbued in our literature society that we have awards named after him. But do you know what he named his cat?
Don't say it. If I don't know, but I don't.
Yeah. So it's just kind of there are things from different times that were just more normalized that are not now. And I think people should just kind of know that and make more of an effort to understand the perspective and context of things from different eras. But people don't think to actually put in that kind of effort. So yeah, those kinds of warnings, I think, spur people to actually kind of think about that as they're watching it. Hopefully, maybe, rather than just removing things, so that we can actually learn better about how culture has progressed and needs to progress further.
Well, there's DC was going to publish this omnibus of the first 26 issues of Detective. These were the issues before Batman.
Yeah.
And, this awesome, because if you could find them, these probably would cost $1 million or more or whatever. And, in this fat omnibus all in one shot, that'd be wonderful. And then they kind of realized that as they were putting this together, there's a lot of stuff here that isn't really kosher these days. Can you say, they just scrapped it all together. And it's there's a lot of material that, not a lot of people, but people would want to see. And it's sad, just because, everybody wants to point to pictures of either Captain America punching a Nazi or Hitler, or Superman beating up a Japanese guy who's a stereotype and was the evil monster at the time,
Right.
So on the one hand, the superhero is doing something we love today, and on the other hand, they're doing something we don't appreciate right now, or ever again, maybe. I don't know. I didn't ever look at an exploded cigar in a face of a Bugs Bunny character ever in anything other than it was an exploded cigar.
Yeah.
if you have that naivete at that time, if we all just don't say anything, that's all it's going to be, right?
But it's violent. We shouldn't be
Oh,
watching
well, I didn't know it was because of the violence.
But see, to me, like the censorship of things like not publishing that omnibus, it's like,
Well, censorship is kind of, when it's
Well,
a company,
yeah.
you know, it's a little in between censorship and doing what they think is right.
But see, is it right? Because to me, pulling back publishing things like that is almost trying to hide what social prejudices were.
Dude, I heard they changed the name of Jim in Huckleberry Finn. I don't even know what the word they use before Jim is, but there is an edited version of it, or maybe it's Tom Sawyer, but nonetheless, I don't know what they say, but I know what they used to say. I don't know if I'm down with that at all.
The point of that book was the prejudice of it, and if you're just removing that, you're like watering it down. So no, I am not a fan of the removal of those kinds of things or trying to shade them away. Like we should know what we came from and understand how we moved on from it so that we can move on further in what we still need to change.
Yeah.
But it's a hard subject. It is.
It all is, and I mean, I'm awfully white to be having it with you only.
You know that I'm super white passing, but you know what I mean. So that's why I'm just kind of like, either way, no matter who is talking about this kind of stuff, it's a sensitive subject.
Yeah, well, the thing is like, when we if it's not available to be understood, you're just gonna not know.
Exactly.
And if you're okay with that in life, if that's how our society is going to become,
that's just ignorant.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean, you go and buy your Confederate flag to let people, I'm just doing this so you can understand what's going on.
Yeah, no, not the same thing.
But at the same time, I mean, I was talking to Jill yesterday. I can't help it. There's just a little part of me that still likes the Dukes of Hazzard. But,
like, I love things like my Conan the Barbarian and back into like the Howard books, like,
oh yeah,
ooh,
the lamentations of the women or something like that.
Yeah, it's like, and the same, like, one of my, like, I love this, like, you've heard me talk about it, ATN's heard me like ask about it, the John Norman Gore series. It has like literal slave castes that are mostly women, so it's just like,
castes, you mean like castes, STE? Gotcha.
Yeah, like
I heard cats, slave cats that were mostly
that
women.
would be better.
Mostly women.
And those they have like these big bird things that are kind of like griffins, and they're called tarns, and that's why it's like the Tarnsmen of Gore.
That's why you never make a deal with Dr. Doom, Moby, because this guy's a bad guy. Just remember that.
But like some things have elements that are less than
connotations.
Yeah, but doesn't mean things aren't necessarily worth.
Well, I was talking to a customer earlier today, and I'm not necessarily a Luke Cage fan anyway to begin with. In fact, when I was a kid growing up, and I was the age where you're like pointing out everything's racist, Power Man was one of those examples,
Really?
Oh yeah, that old white dude that created this guy, and he says "Sweet Christmas," and he looks the way he does in a big yellow, and he has a band and an afro and everything like that. But when they do the flashbacks in like the 70s and you see that character, it's like it kind of fits in. It kind of feels cool and it doesn't feel as bad as it originally was. And the new one is just bald-headed, married with a kid, and wears a t-shirt and jeans. The actor might be a hot-looking dude in the program or movie, but that's not really... there's nothing about that character like Power Man, and when you kind of like strip them and make them real, if we're talking superheroes, it's not always a good thing.
No, I know exactly what you mean, because like, okay, All Out, as much as I love Thor, I don't hate Chris Hemsworth, but I genuinely didn't start to like him until about Ragnarok, because like he's just like too pretty, and
everybody can tell Bruja in chat whether she's right or obviously very wrong.
I'm not saying he's not an attractive man, but for a god of thunder that's like thousands of years old and has battled frost giants and been through hell and back and hung on the branches of Yggdrasil by now. Like, come on. He should be a little bit gruffer. He should be... I mean, maybe it's my preference. I'm not into pretty men, but...
I think you're crazy. I think... Like, it's... Alright, so...
let's get like Hafthor Bjornsson or something. Come on.
You gotta have someone's gotta be able to speak the role, Yeah. I mean, that guy can't get his tongue. He's got muscles on his tongue. He can't speak. How's he gonna say the lines?
Okay, like I follow him on all of his. He's like one of my favorite people, and you have no idea how true that is.
I mean, you gotta watch like Arnold in that Hercules in New York movie where they dub over him, and it's really horrible.
Seriously.
I don't know. I think, I'm not all man crushing on Chris Hemsworth, and I thought the Thor movies were all crap. Sorry, guys, every single one of them. But
really?
he's wonderful. When he stands there and he's all Thored out in Avengers, I'm like, yeah.
See, that's to me. I did actually like him when he was a sub-character to the other movies more. I like all three of the Thor movies. I'm excited for Love and Thunder. Ragnarok is my favorite. I think Dark World is kind of underrated. People hate on it.
No, it's the worst.
A little more than I think is necessary.
I'm going to give my review of it in a few seconds.
Okay. I will say this, though. They wasted Malekith and Eccleston, and I cannot forgive them for that. So, like, I like Dark World, but it's definitely nowhere near the top half of any of my MCU movies.
I gotta give my review of the Dark World, Thor Dark World. That's number 2, right?
Yes.
All right, here it is. That's my review.
Yeah. And that's why I was just like not really in, like, as much as I love Thor, wearing a shirt right now.
Yeah. Nice hammer. How do you say that?
Mjolnir.
Okay.
Mjolnir. I just didn't start to like him until Ragnarok in his own series, and then as a sub-character in, like, the Avengers and stuff. So it's just kind of like, I don't hate him, but... And I'm not even saying there's anybody else I would have preferred. It's just, I didn't feel him that fond until, like, halfway through the MCU career. So it was just kind of like... I just wish he would have been somebody else. I don't know who, but I just feel like he didn't really own the role until halfway through.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Okay. All right. I was just not a fan of the Thor movies, but I think I thought he was good. I thought he delivered all his lines right. I wasn't as into there's a lot of all right. So there's a lot of comic fans out there. When Thor is not portrayed as awesome as he possibly can be, they really take offense to it. So there was a lot of people, men and women, old and young, who didn't like when. Well, I was going to go to the comics for a second and say when Jane Foster became Thor. Spoilers, everybody.
You know, I love her. So.
Well, you can love Jane Foster and imbue her with power, but to take away Thor's name, which is his name, you know, it's not just a thing. It's not a title like, you know, an honorary, you know, like king or queen. He's Thor. It's his name. So she took that, and he was unworthy now. Couldn't even pick up his own freaking hammer. And can only be called Odin's son and all that stuff. A lot of people took offense to that. And then you see Thor in the movie, and he's a big old Lebowski.
I have the pop of that.
It was funny, and Jill was like, "He looks like Lebowski." That's when Tony Stark says he looks like Lebowski. I think it was Tony Stark, and it was hilarious. Very well written in that part.
In the chair and the sunglasses and robe, like this. And like his hair is dreaded. Like, bro, come on.
Yeah. So seeing Thor like that, and it's the whole movie long also. I mean, he's so not Thor. And people that like Thor really don't like that type of stuff.
But
really.
Then his mother gets one of the best quotes in MCU.
Oh, yeah? What's that one? I can't remember because I only saw it once, Jeff. That's my brother.
Paraphrased, it's stop trying to be who you think you are and be who you are. Something like that. It's like stop trying to. How about Triple H as Thor?
Yeah, Hunter Hearst Helmsley from wrestling.
I'd have to see.
He was rumored to be in line for maybe like a Conan gig because like him and Arnold Schwarzenegger pat each other on the butt from time to time. And maybe that's Needles. I don't know, something like that. And yeah, but nothing came of that. And Jill says that he can't act. I say he can't act well. He can act well for a Conan movie, probably a Thor movie.
It's not
also.
like Conan really needs to be incredibly complex.
Well, we're talking about Thor, so I'm kind of mixing it a little bit, but
yeah, Thor. Yeah, actually, see, that's the thing that I think people misunderstand about Thor. Like, especially if you go through and read things like Simonson's Thor. He's sassy and he is snarky. And while he's
a willful brat is what he is.
Exactly. Like he can be dense, but he's not dumb. And like, to me, like the delivery of the lines is more important than like anything, because like, especially in Simonson's run, like just the panels of like the word bubbles that he goes through, like what Thor says is so, to me, like palpable in his attitude, that being able to translate that kind of delivery on screen is one of the most important parts of being able to own that kind of character. Because like you said, people have this idea that Thor is just like, ho ho ho, macho, like Mjolnir, God of Thunder, and you know he is, but to me Thor is like a huge dork. So like maybe it's just because like Simonson is more my favorite run, and like that's the side that I like more, but he definitely does have like a super sassy, shady, snarky side, and we have to remember he is the brother of Loki and the son of Odin, so
half brother.
Well, we're not gonna get into that. we could have a whole show on that one, and you know it.
Yeah. Well, I think we're having a whole show on Thor. I'm going to just like throw the script away, everybody. It's gone.
Yeah, right? Like, we're already over a half an hour in. Like, stop talking about me. What's going on with the shop and actual comics and stuff?
Oh, darn. The shop is doing okay. We're getting customers coming in from stand-up comics because I think they might be officially closed now. I haven't really looked into it, but they were already we were starting to get customers coming over because they didn't continue on with DC. And I think, I mean, there's no real guarantee that we're going to be open going forward also, you know, because,
Really?
well, I'm thinking shutdown type stuff again.
Yeah, husband told me a few days ago that like at least our county is going back purple, so like things are closing back to like I'm under what do they call it, the curfew, so I'm not going to be surprised if by the end of the year a lot of things are going to be like super closed back down. But are they permanently closing, or are they just prepping?
So all of California is, I think, 10 at night to 5 in the morning. Like restaurants and bars have to be closed. Duh. Of course, you know, then someone says, well, what does that mean? Like the virus isn't as effective in the daytime.
Well,
you know.
I mean, you know me. I've been sitting here.
Funny enough, I leave in the daytime when people are out. Right. Sorry, what?
No.
No, I totally cut you off. I'm sorry.
It's not important. Just like, you know, I'm totally happy sitting here being quarantined. So I'm just like, why aren't people just sitting at home reading books and comics and watching stuff and taking advantage of
YouTube, everybody?
Seriously.
Why do you want to leave?
I talked to a couple of people like all day, every day, and all we do is just sit there and like trade videos and just like talk about books and comics and movies and stuff. So it's just like, guys, go inside and just chill for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
No, I agree.
I got lots of comics to read.
Well, the you know, the thing is that people are finding out who they are living with, and what they have that they care about that surrounds them, and you know, maybe they're finding that that's, you know, a little lacking in whatever it may be. I mean, I feel like I've chosen my entertainment properly, but I'm still here where I'm receiving more of it all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely like as many comics and graphic novels and books and everything as I have, like there is definitely a void in being able to keep up with newer things more easily. So it's just kind of like, I've been sitting here, I have plenty of things to do, and I'm still downloading new things to watch and buying new audiobooks and still ordering new print books. So, next show at the French Laundry. I'm hungry. Why did you say that?
Because they're talking about shutdowns in chat, and I say if we ever get money rolling in because of this show, we'll go to there. We'll do it from the French Laundry.
Okay, well, you can always try to go to honey. What's the French Laundry offshoot? the bakery place.
I don't have enough hair to slick back, though. I feel so horrible about that.
There's one place that's like a little bakery offshoot to the French Laundry, and it's like got the best bread ever. It's not like a sit down restaurant or anything, but
best bread ever.
So good.
Now I'm interested because I just don't ever think I'll ever taste the best bread ever, because I don't think about bread so much that I think that this is the best bread ever. So I'm really interested in it. Better not have any olives in it, because I disagree right off the bat.
No, I'm with you on that.
And I don't like rye either.
Oh, see, I love rye. Hungry. Why are you doing this to me?
I wasn't doing it. It was all about Thor, I thought. Thor was big on rye.
Well, yeah, with that Lebowski belly. You got to get those carbs in somehow. Well, I mean, I
That-
guess he's drinking plenty of beer, so it's
That's
probably
true.
that.
That's right. All right. Let's see here.
Oh,
Let me
yes,
remove
Max,
this.
thank you. Ad hoc.
Ad hoc what? Oh, that's what it's called?
Yeah.
Hilarious.
I guess I could have just looked at my cookbooks. I have cookbooks for all of Thomas Keller's stuff.
I'm having a hard time here.
What, the shine?
No, I don't care about the shine. I care about the height. Let's see.
Put it on a stack of unopened comic bags, board and bags, boards.
It's fine. It's cool.
Good enough.
I'm going to complain about something really quick.
Complain.
Tomorrow, Scumbag number 2 comes out. That's by Rick Remender and some dude who paints, or at least it looks like paint. Here, let me show you. It's kind of cool. I know I should be big, but we don't want to be big right now. This is the problem with it. I left it on the shelf, and that's the cover.
Oh, that's sad.
And so, like, I was fumbling with this, and there was another comic behind it, and I couldn't get my fingers off of it. And that was X of Swords Destruction. And the thing is that Marvel sometimes, to cut cost, I guess it's called self-same or something like that. I don't know what it is called. The paper on the cover is the same as the paper on the inside. Sometimes the covers are worse than the paper on the inside. And I mean, you always, if you hold your hands on your comic book too much and you sweat or whatever, you can rub off your fingerprints on the comic cover.
Yeah.
But really, for like the last 5 or 7 years in Marvel, it's been really easy to do that. And most recently, with these weird covers, they just kind of ripple in the light, and they don't really show up nice on the shelf. And it's just something to know. So I'm going to go to bagging at least the first one on the front, on the row, and say, take from behind, please.
Well, at least for like the first one, yeah, so that it has like a pressure of something to keep things held up. So that is personally for sure something that just really bugs me about comics, is like you said, when you hold it, if that cover is the wrong kind of paper or the wrong kind of ink, like it like, you don't even have to be sweating. It just steals the moisture and the oils out of your hand, and then it ruins the cover.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's too much. While we talk. It's okay.
Man, stop talking about KFC. I'm hungry.
KFC?
Yeah.
I'm a fan of the Colonel, I got to admit.
No, I am too. Like the popcorn chicken and stuff that they got. Oh man, I'll go.
I know there's documentaries and stuff like that, but I worked at one and it wasn't so bad for the month I worked there.
See,
other than working there, that was the part that sucked.
Worse than I've heard.
All right.
Oh, Joe.
So everybody last week heard about me talking about the boob armor on the Mandalorian.
Ooh, yeah.
Can you tell me what you think about it as a lady? If you want to say that. As a Star Wars fan?
I love boob armor.
Yeah.
Like, what was the actual controversy?
The fact that it was it looked as form-fitting as it was. That it ain't cool that, some chick's boobs are all inside, like, the armor like that.
Okay, see, here's the... Maybe I'm wrong because I have different body types, but here's the thing. When you are stacked, like Gina Carano and what's her fucking face who played Bo-Katan?
I don't know. Who?
Redhead. Like, as far as the actual use of wearable armor goes, you cannot have it that loose on you. And if it does something like if it's tight on your chest but loose on your body, or tight on your body, loose, it's not going to work as armor. So having a form-fitting armor is actually proper armor. So for more buxom bodies, I mean, maybe it doesn't have to have, like Superman like nipple detail, but
I mean, yeah, I saw a lot of people showing the Batman and Robin Joel Schumacher costumes because their nipples were all over the place.
Are you kidding? That where he does the actual with the butt, the bat nipple and the bat butt and the bat crotch and the bat butt again and the bat nipple again.
Oh, and make sure you show them buckling their belts and everything. Oh yeah, right? Yeah.
And also don't forget the intense icy blue-eyed glare.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
I love the shoe. I love all four of those. As much as I don't really read or like Batman comics, every single Batman movie, cartoon, anything, I love that stuff so much.
So you like the realization of Batman more than having to wade through all you like the distilled Batman more than you like the actual character.
That's actually a really good way to put it, because the thing for me about Batman in comics is there is so much of it, and without somebody who is actually familiar with a lot of it, I'm not going to dedicate the time and the effort to read a bunch of it just to figure out it's a style of Batman I don't like. So having something as condensed as a movie I can watch in 2 hours is great. And, Batman's fun. Those are fun movies. Some of them, like the Nolans, obviously aren't the same as the Schumachers or the Burtons, but they're all good and they're all fun. And, I do love, the Batman cartoons. I have them all on DVD. It's just...
Oh, really? I have HBO Max.
What?
Oh, I'm just joking. I mean, we have HBO Max. So
yeah, where do you think I'd be watching this stuff?
Oh, I see. Very good.
All right.
You're working at KFC is like Charlie getting a gold ticket to Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory.
No, that's like when rude. I was a teacher at Sur La Table.
Christine K, I'm not ignoring you, but I don't know what the McVengers or Colonel America is.
Yeah, what? McVengers? Now we gotta know.
Well, you can clickety if you want to know. If you maybe
Continuum, I know I have seen some stuff from the 60s, but it's been so long since I've watched any of it. I don't remember any of it. I need to watch it again.
The reason why the chainmail bikini on women works, like in Red Sonja's case, is it's so distracting, right?
Yeah.
And there's a movement factor, but overall, I can't imagine it's very functional.
Well, it depends on the type of armor you are trying to wear for what kind of battle. Because, if you look at worldwide cultures and the different styles of armor, there are body plates, which those are larger and cover more of your body, and those actually are what need to be more form-fitting, because if it doesn't fit you, it's like you're wearing a bell, and if you get impact, that's not going to actually protect you, because one of the things that protects you on impact is the actual metal against your body taking that hit. But if it's just sitting there and it hits what is essentially a big open empty bell, it's going to ring around and you're going to get hit really weird. But opposite to that, if you're going in Norse style berserker battle kind of stuff, having something that just covers your chest and then your sensitive parts allows you for more movement, because typically they have bigger kinds of weapons, and it just go watch the show Forged in Fire. It's on Netflix now. It goes through all kinds of this stuff.
Where they're actually, these are the guys that are making armor and stuff like that.
Yeah, like weapons and stuff. It's such a good show. I had a friend that I worked with at Sur La Table. We were both chefs there, but he was also a metal worker, and he would make things like kitchen knives and stuff. And we would watch that show together, and oh man, just some of the stuff that they make is so cool alone, but then seeing them actually get to like design and use the things that they make on the show, oh god, like there's only like 3 seasons right now too. It's not much of an investment, not much to catch up on. It's basically chopped for metalworking, so just go watch it. It's awesome.
Christine says that it's a cosplay group. They splice Avengers and fast food characters.
Yeah, just saw that. What?
Christine, if I remember correctly, now I get what it is, because she does the Wendy's girl and Black Widow. And I was like, oh, this is really... She has like the, like all the stuff that's Wendy's related in the colors. And it has like the gauntlets around her wrists. Like Black Widow with the venom sting and all that stuff. Anyway, never mind. It's a good costume. It's cool. Yes. So what we're looking at right here is Future State. This is DC's. So they were going to have this thing called the 5th generation or 5G or G5, Generation 5, I think. And the idea was that these were going to be the next Batman and the next Wonder Woman and all that stuff. And these are the creators, some of the creators that they're highlighting here. Let me get this way.
Quite a lot of pages to go through before you get to actual book.
There's no real comic here. This is just a preview.
Okay.
So, yeah. Anyway, it's just something I'm showing you while we talk. And this is like the new Superman, which is going to be John Kent. And there's going to John. Yeah, it's the kid that was in Super Sons. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
There's going to be a bunch of Wonder Woman or women. And this one here, is Nubia.
Ooh, yes.
She was introduced in, I think, Wonder Woman 204, something like that.
It was 70s, right?
Yeah, it would be the 70s, like probably like right after I think it's right after. So Wonder Woman had this era where she renounced being an Amazon, and she only wore like these white like suits, very 70s like. Yeah. And she like did karate, and she wasn't immortal anymore, and everything was like really Rhoda. Or Mary Tyler Moore or something like that. But that was a very popular time, but it was a very short-lived time. And then afterwards she was all superheroine again, but I think that's where like Nubia comes in around that time. Anyhow, this is going to be for 2 months, Future State. If you read a DC comic book, let's say you read Superman, or let's say you read Batman, those aren't going to happen. It's going to be the Future State Batman.
Oh.
And it's going to be the Future State Wonder Woman. And if there's a Justice League, there's going to be a Future State Justice League. And this little preview is something that I'm giving out to anybody that's interested. I got a bunch of them, so come on in. They just came out yesterday. And... look, there's Nightwing. Everybody loves Nightwing.
Hey.
But is it Nightwing that you know?
Ooh. It's not Grayson?
I don't know. I didn't read. I'll just read the comics. Look, there's a Superwoman, and she's wearing... I don't know.
That's impractical.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe she just floats when she. Anyway, it should be interesting. It's a nice little in between, whatever DC is ending with, in December, to March, and I guess like somewhere in December we'll probably find out a few hints on what is going to be happening with DC going forward. Last week's show, I was jokingly saying that DC is going out of business. They obviously have plans to publish things, but for how long and in what way might change. We just don't know how it's going to. So you ask how the store is going. This is like one of the things we have to contend with. 2 months of Batman not coming out, or 2 months of something like Batman coming out. These are, I think some of the things are interesting. Some of the characters are going to be like, I forget, I think it's this Wonder Woman here. She's cute.
I like the color scheme she's got.
Yeah. I think she's going to be in some CW cartoon or program or whatever they do.
Yo, there are so many cartoons now.
My buddy, there's a, he thinks that he's taking a gamble on the fact that this isn't the Fox that everybody thinks it's going to be. And he went out and got the Batman where the other brother comes from. Yeah. Or I think they all come. Would you like to play Is This Good Art or Bad Art?
Always.
All right. So a lot of people were kind of bitching about this book.
Before you get started on that, though, can you move your camera to a more downward angle?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, all show you've been doing a focus thing. That might help.
How's it? How do you mean now?
Can you elevate it and face it down more?
Oh, no, I can't. That's
No.
my only problem. I can elevate it. I can just hold it. Like
Whatever.
How's that?
It's just a little bit.
No, it's okay. This is important.
No, that's better.
Well, I'm holding it.
Okay, well that's annoying.
All right, so firstly, there have been these alternate covers coming out. The alternate covers, I can't really say the guy's name. It's this Jeffrey Verege. Anyway, he's been doing these variant covers, and his art style is like this.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the Watcher. And then here, it's a nice little splash page. And he's been doing, like, on Hulk, there was a Hulk version of this, and he did a Black Panther on the Avengers cover, I think it was.
Oh, okay. So he's doing a bunch of different covers of this in variant. He's doing a bunch of different covers for other titles.
Exactly. So all this month they have been celebrating Indigenous people.
Yeah.
And it's mostly with his artwork on different covers.
Okay.
So he does the first few pages. And then there's other people that are in the book. Now, the people in the book I am not familiar with, and I think they fit the profile of people that are, if this is Indigenous voices, that's what you're going to get, okay?
Yeah.
So a lot of people kind of thought this was a really ugly picture. I don't think it really is.
No, I like it.
I mean, I don't know her nationality, but I thought...
Yeah, I'm trying to...
Echo, I thought was Asian, but I just don't know. It really isn't important. She's... it is, but it isn't to me. I'm just... Not in this situation. We're just talking about art.
Yeah.
But I think it is important if the artist is, because, this is a different style. But this is the one that got lambasted. Let me actually move this up. Do this.
Is that Carol?
Yeah, it's Carol.
Okay, that does look kind of weird.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, it's so bad in focus.
No, it's not too bad. A little dark, but not bad.
Yeah, and then even like down here, it's a little weird. And this my phone isn't a great camera.
Oh, you're on your phone tonight?
Well, that's what this is. That's what this is. This is
okay.
Comic Views. This. And a lot of people were dogging on that. And I think the thing I was telling a customer earlier today is that Marvel fans a lot of times are maybe it's mainstream comic fans. They kind of have a problem accepting when there's, I don't know, like different style of artwork on their heroes or their superheroes, and they can't accept that, there's something, there's a different style out there. All right, so case in point, when I was a friend, my buddy who only read Marvel comics, when Bill Sienkiewicz started up on the New Mutants. And I love Bill Sienkiewicz, and I was like salivating, just waiting for him to actually work on the book. Right. And like when I knew that he was going to be on it, it was like, oh my god, this is going to be the greatest thing ever.
How stoked were you when New Mutants became a thing?
I wasn't like as far as a book. It was just another X. It was the first new X book. So I was kind of into it, but they were like, the X babies, and it didn't have Wolverine or Cyclops or whoever. So it was
nobody could care about in here. I don't care about that.
No, Kitty Pryde, she got stuck there, and she didn't like it, and she sabotaged that title for me until Bill Sienkiewicz came on.
Yeah. And
my buddy was like, "Oh, my kid sister could do better than Bill Sienkiewicz," and it's like, this guy is like a fine artist working in comics, But so like art is, but when it's abstract and things like that, a lot of people have a problem with it. I think especially in superhero comics. I think that one picture of Carol that was so bad, someone suggested that it was drawn really small and then blown up, and then it was never fixed, or everything's so digital these days that if it's not done a proper way, it doesn't translate all the time.
Let me tell you.
I'm not saying proper like there's a right way to do something. I'm saying if you're going to take something and do it to other specifications, you just got to kind of like know how to do that.
Programming and like what kinds of like technology you use. Like things can be so weird, and like if you don't catch little like, oh, actually, while we're just slightly still on like the Mando subject, did you see the slip? No, okay. Well, there's no nip slip or anything. Get your mind out of the gutter.
I'm not, but what kind of slip?
Just
like falling down?
No, behind like the characters in a scene, you can see somebody in a hall that's just wearing jeans and a t-shirt and a watch, and it's like full on in the episode, so it's just like they missed a crew member. Did you
watch Game of Thrones?
Oh yeah.
All right, so everybody was like shitting on the show, especially in the last 5, 6, and 7, whatever seasons it was, the last 3. Each one it was getting worse and worse, but when they had to like go off on their own, it wasn't so great. I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody, but to further complicate how much hate people had for the last season, when they had these very important scenes where they were doing these diplomatic, everybody's sitting around and they were having these big conversations. There's a frickin' Starbucks cup on the like down on someone's chair area, like the leg of a chair.
Sansa who had it.
Yeah. Shh. Sansa doesn't live. Shh. I don't know whose it was, but yeah, it could have easily been hers.
I know exactly. Yeah. I knew exactly where you were going with that. There was a couple of other slips too.
I think of the same nature also.
Yeah, like the entire like I've read all the Game of Thrones books. I watched all of it. I love Game of Thrones, but I am of that camp that when they lost source material because they surpassed the book, it started getting so bad. And I think like they were so stressed out over it that, yeah, like there are a lot of things that just technical filming things they messed up on so bad. And the last season is barely watchable to me. So I'm just like, I really hope this isn't how the books end.
It won't matter. I think we already know how the books end. They're ended. They're done.
Well, nah.
You heard that George R. R. Martin, is like he blew past yet another deadline. You know.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like, there was all the hope in the world that, COVID would get him to do it. There's no football, to really worry about. No sports.
Yeah,
nothing that you can't go out and eat. What was that?
Because he doesn't know what to do. He is just stalling with editing all of his other crap and working on all of his little short stories and all the other stuff he does because he says he knows what the end is, but then he doesn't. I know. He's just lying. And even if he had an idea and whether or not it is what the show pursued, based on the response of the end of the show, he would be pretty not smart to change what the end is supposed to be, because he even made the statement that the last season, the DMVs like Benioff and the other freaking one, they worked with Martin on material. It was approved. Martin said, yes, this is how the book is going to end. And then it finished. And then he was like, oh, actually, that's not how it's going to end. So, no, he doesn't know what he is doing with Game of Thrones. He is stalling. And he's going to die before we get it.
Well,
yes, I'm mad.
Yeah, I'm mad. All right, I like that. Let's get the fire going. Take that, George.
It's one of the longest, like, you know me with, like, books. I'm not the biggest on fiction, so, like, that's probably one of the longest fiction series I've read outside of, like, B.C. Andrews and, like, freaking Harry Potter and crap. So it's just, like, if I don't get closure to stuff, if I don't get ends, I'm gonna be so mad.
You're gonna be so mad. I'm gonna give him such a pinch.
It's like I'm gonna cast some sort of weird something on the day he dies. Ugh. No, I won't.
All right.
No, I won't.
Okay, so I want to put this banner out so that you can know if you're interested at all in watching other YouTube shows about comic books. You should hang out at any of these channels. They all run really cool features. I'm on Talkin' Vols when it's the Wrestling Council. Thinking Critical, I have been on before, not recently, but
Keep talking for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, you do that. Give me a beer too.
Oh, wish I could. I got White Claw.
Thinking Critical had a video that came out today, and I wanted to talk about it because I lost my piece of paper. It really doesn't matter what the titles are, but what it was. So I'm directing you. Go over to Thinking Critical later on if you want to find out about news about comics. He has Wes, that's the guy who runs the station or channel. He has conversations with different people, store owners sometimes, creators, fans. He has his own network of fans that have like specific things that they like to talk about, and some of them are good. Some of them are different. Some of them are really good, though. And also, Wes talks about like newsy kind of things that are going on. And I guess Marvel just today finalized that they were canceling some titles, and some of them were like, "Didn't you already? Didn't you already say that you were going to cancel Ghost Rider?" And, and then some things that are like, oh, this was this comic book that was supposed to come out for Empire or some other series that's like over. Those are being canceled also. So It's just finalizing the fact that we're not getting those titles. Oh, and the one that really bummed me out the most was Spider-Man Daily Bugle, which is a story about the Daily Bugle. And that was written by Matt Johnson, who did Incognito, which is a Dark Horse comic book. And Incognito is about this dude who can pass for white. And he's a reporter, and he's trying to like move up in the ranks of being like, you know, at this paper that he's been toiling away at. And so they're like, hey, maybe you might want to go do this story here. And then he finds out one of the it's about this hanging that's going to occur, and I guess it's civilized or something, like they they're gonna go through some sort of procedure before they actually do it. Anyway, it's his cousin, and you know, he's gonna go and try and get this guy out of trouble, and he's gonna go and do it and like try and pass for white at like Clan Town.
Back to he's gonna try to pass for white.
Well, he does pass for white under normal circumstances, but he's gonna do it where they don't like black people, in a time when they don't like black people. Like, really, you know, because like, and you can do something about it and nothing's going to happen to you, that type of thing. So like what, the 40s, I guess, not that long ago, if you look at it that way. 50s. Jesus. So if you're going to have a problem with Spider-Man and his amazing friends, think about that. Anyway, Matt Johnson. So Spider-Man Daily Bugle ain't going to happen. It'll probably come out like digitally or in a collection. I recommend it. I thought it was pretty cool because he's doing this whole newspaper thing, but the art wasn't so beautiful. That was the problem.
Yeah, if you're talking about what I'm thinking about, I wasn't fond of how it looked.
Yeah, I kind of made fun of it, and it told the story well enough, but I was there for the writing, and I'm, you know, sometimes Spider-Man, you want to read something that's like a little different but the same, you know, a story that matters for somebody else.
That's just comics in general.
Sure. I mean, you know, it's just a little thing that gives flavor, text to the other people that sometimes get ignored. And I also like the newspaper angle, even though there isn't really newspapers anymore. The story is like, you know, how do they get these stories, and how do you get people to care, and podcasts and all that other stuff.
I can think of a few good movies about stuff like that.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, The Soloist with Robert Downey Jr. and then Veronica Guerin. Forget who it stars. It's somebody like Cate Blanchett. Two good ones.
I don't watch movies anymore if I can help it.
You know, I'm
too
just
long.
barely getting back. Like, I'm so addicted to stuff like Babylon 5 right now, and husband has been watching like a bunch of Star Trek stuff. He's been watching the animated one and one of the new ones. And oh my god, did you know Trek says the F word now?
Oh, they do.
They do.
Well, that's, I mean, not even J.J. Abrams went that far.
Oh, no, see, Paul
Or
filled
did
me
he?
in on this.
Oh.
The first F word drop in Star Trek was in a J.J. Abrams movie, in a soundtrack, in a song.
I see.
But yeah,
Wait,
as far-
in a song?
yeah, I forget. Like, I actually know when and where he's talking about, but like, I don't remember what song it is.
It wasn't even Jim?
No,
It wasn't even like Bones going, mother...
That's what we all want to hear.
That's the guy that should be cursing, man. He's all,
Right?
I'm not a fucking...
Do you? Oh man, come on! We made it. We made it an hour and 15.
Oh, that wasn't even really cussing.
Yeah, that you didn't end the K there. But do you remember the episode of the original Trek where Bones smacks a princess?
Wait, he smacks a what?
A princess?
No, I don't remember that.
That is like the main one I remember.
I like Star Trek a lot, but I don't like it so much that I know all of it.
See, it's like I watched it like in the 90s in my freaking trailer on bunny ears on an 8-inch TV, and I've watched a little bit since then, but for the most part, I'm like on a mission right now to finally watch and catch up on all of these space shows that I've been trying to get to for like 20 freaking years. So like,
Oh, they're all out there now.
so I know, like, I want to do Farscape is what I want to do after I finish Babylon 5, but I also want to do like maybe intersperse with some different Treks. Husband hasn't seen any of the Shatner Trek, so I'm just like,
It's the only ones I like. I gotta say. Oh, maybe the cartoon.
You should watch the cartoon.
Not the new one. I'm not. I mean, I
Oh,
will watch the new one, but that's not the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Is what I mean.
Like the funny thing is I have only seen, until he started recently watching some of the very new ones, I had only seen original Trek, and he has only seen new Trek, and he hasn't seen original. So like he's sitting here watching Discovery and Lower Decks, yeah. And
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, the animated, that one is so good. It's like,
Really?
it's cocaine energy.
I heard it's so irreverent.
It is. It's.
Isn't Star Trek about being stodgy?
See, that's the thing. Like, Lower Decks is people making Star Trek for their own generation when their parents were the ones that raised them on original Trek. So it has very, very much fully the heart and the soul and the canon, like just atmosphere and just everything about it is so Trek.
All right, how about this American Dad in Space?
That, yeah, pretty much. But it is nothing of the energy of what any other Star Trek has ever been like. And it is bizarre because there's like, I think there's sex scenes, and there's just like cursing all over the place. And there's like, I swear, every single person on that show is either flipped out on Molly, poked out all over the place. Like, it just has such like a vibrating energy to it that alone is fun. But then it's also incredibly Star Trek. So
all right, I'm down. I'm gonna watch an episode.
It's so good.
I'm gonna figure out. Oh, I think the first episode's on YouTube. You can actually see it.
Everything is on YouTube. We're on YouTube.
Well, no. You can't.
Yeah, I know.
You have to. The first one's free on YouTube, is what I mean. If you search it out, it's there.
You know, he just gets stuff. I don't know how he gets.
Oh, there's ways of getting things. There's ways of getting things. I'm just saying, this one, if you just want to see the first one, is, I think, available.
You know, it makes me want to like read some of the Star Trek comics, because like as much as I love the Star Wars, I'm like, why haven't I checked out like the Star Trek comics?
All right, now you've seen the Star Trek movies, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You must read Star Trek comics that are written by Peter David. He's the only... There's fine Star Trek comic books out there, but the only ones that read the best... I mean, this is like the best bread. This is the best Star Trek. And I would suggest even in novel form, the best Star Trek is written by Peter David. They're funny. He gives way more life to characters than any other Star Trek writer ever has in book or comic book form. I'm not going to say like when you have William Shatner or Leonard Nimoy or DeForest Kelley speaking their lines, you know, Nichelle, I can't remember her name.
Yeah, you're on your own on that one.
But I had the right first name. Uhura. You got all these people playing, you know, you got Sulu, you know, all that stuff. That is that exudes from the TV show. Even like Picard, and I don't know about Worf, but yeah, I don't know about any of those characters other than Picard.
See, and I'm not familiar because I've only watched OG Shatner.
The problem is like Riker is boring. Dana Troy is boring. Yasha or Tasha Yar or whatever her name is boring. Data is boring, and I don't care about him. Boring, and the holodeck room is boring, and Q is boring, and I just have a problem with Next Generation. I know that a lot of people, a lot of my friends love it, but oof, I hate those. I hate Next Generation.
I think you're gonna like Lower Decks. You should definitely watch that.
Good, I'm glad. Oh, hell. Star Trek. Woo! I'm going to show you guys a comic book really quick.
Yeah.
All right, so this came out today. It is written by John Ridley. Do you know who John Ridley is, movie person?
Well, I mean, it's not anybody related to Ridley Scott, is it?
No. John Ridley he wrote 12 Years a Slave.
Oh!
He also wrote, he's a screenwriter. Okay. He's done like television and stuff like that. And he's done some comic books in the past. He mostly has done like Wildstorm comic books. I think when they were at DC, but maybe before also. So that was something he did. That was comic book related. But now he's doing this Black Label, and Black Label means this is the adult DC comic book. This is where we had the Batwing. That wasn't, it wasn't supposed to be there, but was. And then we had Superman Year One by Frank Miller, The Question, which comes out in hardcover collected tomorrow or today.
Nice.
And now we're getting this book called The Other History of the DC Universe. And so this is going to be a story about, I think I shouldn't say all, about all of the characters are going to be black characters in the DC universe. I say black because I'm not sure if they'll go to and do like Vixen. So I don't know. People of color. But this is going to be their story during certain parts of the DC universe. And I think it's going to try and tie it into more today. So there wasn't Batman in the 30s and trying to explain it. It was like a few days ago, But this is this first issue is all about Jefferson Pierce, and it's from 1972 to 1995.
Ooh.
And the art's really good. It's by Giuseppe Camuncoli.
Ooh.
And I think a lot of the art is probably like copied or homaged so much that it probably is the original. But it goes through, and the character Jefferson is Black Lightning. We all know him as Black Lightning. But this is his early days leading up through his years as being Black Lightning. Here he is, Black Lightning.
The art changes a lot.
Well, the reason is because it's going through DC's history.
Okay. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. At least, and that's why. So when it changes, it might actually be more Neil Adams than actually Camuncoli, or it might be Camuncoli doing his best Neil Adams. I'm not as skilled to be able to know the difference all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm sure somebody else could tell me. Nonetheless, it's artfully done. The only thing I have a problem with is it's all written like it's a biography. I know I should be big. Sorry. How do I do that? It's all written like it's a biography. And it's all in like, he's telling me the story about him or whoever the narrator is. And those are some pretty cool scenes. So you got like a lot of text, and I haven't read all of it.
Jeez, yeah.
like the whole book. I mean, you're going to get your money's worth. This is like $6 or $6.99.
Okay. Is it?
But
is
we
it
have a screenwriter. We have a screenwriter writing a comic book. I would like to read more dialogue.
Yeah, I guess that's true. When you pointed
Personally.
out that, yeah.
That's me personally. But when you're telling a history, I mean, it is called The Other History of the DC Universe. I am reading a history. I can't complain so much. But I'm very excited for this series. One of my customers told me the next issue is supposed to be about Bumblebee. And Bumblebee is, I guess, DC's first black superhero. Maybe heroine. I'm not sure if it's specifically just superhero. And that does shine a light in how little DC has like had, how very little DC has had in ways of black characters for the most part. You get Black Lightning and then Bumblebee, and it's like, you gotta start thinking. I'm a big Cyborg fan, so they got Cyborg, and then the new Aqualad, and then I'm starting to think, I don't know, I'm sure there's characters, but not in DC. Feels like Marvel's more. That's always been the thing about Marvel and DC. Marvel has felt more like real life, more than DC has these gods that lord their power over us little people. And then Marvel is like, oh, you got Spider-Man, and he's like, swinging down the street, Of course, they're all in New York, so nobody lives anywhere else, just New York.
Well, I mean, unless you're in the West Coast Avengers.
Well, yeah, but let's be honest, that sucked. And most superheroes that are on the West Coast suck.
Well, yeah, that's why they kicked him over to the other coast.
That's right. And I mean, the West Coast is definitely the ghetto of all superhero play. Maybe Canada, actually. A Canadian superhero team. Even in Alpha Flight, they're always threatening canceling them.
I was going to say, you love Alpha Flight.
I do. But it's just you gotta be honest with what you like.
Yeah. I mean, I love my crappy stuff, and I will admit it. But that's why I'm not surprised when my stuff gets canceled.
All right, I'm gonna just flash some comic books while we talk. Let me put up a new banner thanking all the patrons. If you're at all interested in following Fantastic Comics, you can on all social media, Facebook. Well, I shouldn't say all. Facebook's ain't no Gab here or Parlor or whatever. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Yay! If you haven't subscribed to this channel, maybe do that. Hit the bell for notifications. We're going to have a new video coming up soon with we just graded an X-Men #2. We did. We think it's a 6. Well, this is the video, the first video. It's up now. You can go see it later.
Oh, yeah.
We just graded an X-Men #2. And now I'm going to go press it. And so the second video is going to be grading it after I press it, before we send it into CGC. And then there's another video about what we got.
Yeah.
But X Swords comes out tomorrow. It finishes. There's 3 more chapters.
Oh.
It goes X-Men, Excalibur, and then this one, Destruction.
So that's the end of that title.
It's the end of that whole 10 of Swords, yes. Ooh. It's over. I've only been reading X-Men and the one-shots for the most part.
How long has that been running? I feel like
a couple months.
Okay.
Very fast.
Yeah, I was going to say, that felt short.
It's a pet peeve of mine when there's a 22 epic saga and it doesn't take any time. It makes you think, why did they rush it so much? Was it not good?
Yeah.
Would I not care by issue 12? Even though the cover kind of sucks because it curls. Get a bag and board. Or don't care.
I
Rick
mean, you should bag and
Remender.
board anyway.
What was that?
Yeah, you should bag and board anyway.
Exactly.
So,
They stand up better that way. Rick Remender is a good writer. He's written all your favorite comics, like Seven to Eternity and Deadly Class and Low and Black Science and Uncanny X-Force and Uncanny Avengers and let's get something old. Blackheart Billy. I smoked pot with him once. Somebody I did not smoke pot with was Taboo, who writes Werewolf by Night.
Ooh.
We have one more issue of #1, and this is a limited series by the performer from the Black Eyed Peas and Scott Eaton. The art's okay. Assassin and Son. This is written by Shad Gaspard, who is no longer with us anymore. He died saving his son from, I think, a riptide.
Oh.
And saving he saved his son, like he forewent being rescued, so that his son could be, and by the time they got back to him, dead.
Oh.
There you go.
I don't like water. I don't do water.
It's really strange when I personally am okay with water. It's really strange when you think you can't, like if you feel strong enough to be able to, I can swim. Nothing's going to take me down. And then it's like, wow, it just goes to show you.
See, yeah, exactly. No, I'm a big fat Leo fire sign. Like, I know my limits.
That's my Pisces in me. My Pisces. I'm on the cusp.
That explains. Okay.
Black Hammer. We'll do a whole show on astrology. How's that?
Ooh, I can cover
I'm
that.
down, yeah. Colonel Weird Cosmogog is #2 of 4, and this is in the Black Hammer universe. He's the really weird professorially old guy. He's like an astronaut that tripped on like space mushrooms or something. It's a mini-series that's going on. Not really the mushrooms part.
I gotta read that.
I love Black Hammer. Someone said, Black Hammer really didn't do it for me. And I said, well, it's kind of like giving me it's kind of like giving people that like superheroes the belief that they're reading something important.
Oh, ow.
I love superheroes. Speaking of something that's not important, Multiverse Who Laughs, but these one-shots on the death metal have been really awesome, and the artwork's been great. And I have a spinner rack over here, and I've been putting them up on there, and I highly recommend the ones I put up there, and I'm looking forward to this. It looks like it's all the animals.
That's pretty nice.
And that's the Batman Who Laughs. Yeah. All right. I've been very, very horribly trying to, over the past, talk about Department of Truth, which is about an agency that they explore and try and contain conspiracies. Because if there's enough people that believe in it, it kind of comes true. There's more to it than that, and recently, in the second issue, the main character, Cole, who's been recruited to the department, he's had a premonition or a boogeyman that he's been scared of all his life, and now it looks like it's actually coming, like it's a real thing.
Nice.
And the artwork's pretty cool. It's very Sienkiewicz style, at least it feels that way.
It's the shading and the type of penciling. It's just more cleaned up.
Yeah. And I think the guy's name is Martin Simmons. Here, this is a lot more Sienkiewicz style. But again,
yes.
This has been fun. If you're a fan of conspiracies or maybe the X-Files, which again, conspiracies, I would recommend it. It's been pretty hot, and I think first prints of #1 are expensive now. I could totally see that being like a TV show, and it's written by James Tynion, who does Batman.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's real popular right now.
He's also doing Something Is Killing the Children, which is pretty popular. Can't keep that in stock, really. Yeah, Yeah, it's been doing pretty good. Conan's still going on. Jim Zub is writing it now. I kind of think these long stories don't work for the Conan. Like the long, but like the depressed. I can't think of what the word is. Right? When they do the long stories, but it's really nothing in between all the issues.
Well, because Conan, by his nature, is a pulp character. So if you try to extend that, you're just rubbing too little butter on too much toast.
Dune number 2 comes out.
Oh yeah. Do you still have number 1s?
I might have one for you, my co-host.
Any way I can get any of it that's out, I want.
All right, but you got to come in.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Mark just got off of like a week of randomly placed vacation because he has too much vacation and they don't want to pay him out for it by the end of the year. So
I gotcha.
That was his nice little downtime, and he's supposed to have some more vacation time after Thanksgiving. So I'll hit you up to see.
All right, cool.
There after Thanksgiving and see where we're at.
I'm showing you Marvel number 1, which is a bunch of vignettes of Marvel characters, but with really good art.
Ooh.
It also has some Alex Ross in there, not just the cover. But the reason why I'm showing you number 1 is because number 2 is also coming out tomorrow.
And it's just called Marvel.
Yeah, it's Marvel. It's written by Kurt Busiek and other storytellers. Here's Eric Powell in this one. And here you go. This is the first page of the second issue.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Well, that's Alex Ross, but he doesn't do all of it. But look, this is what the story looks like, the first story.
Oh.
Yeah.
Intro.
And that's Dan Brereton, and I'm not actually usually a fan of him, but I'm liking that.
That's some good classic.
Yeah. For fans of Monstress, there's a 2-issue miniseries coming out called Talk Stories.
Cute.
Yeah. We have fans of that. Spider-Man's been good. And then Shang-Chi. Boom.
How is that doing?
Shang-Chi, I didn't expect it to sell like gangbusters or anything like that. It's been doing okay.
That's the buzz I've seen on the forums, is that like people aren't too excited for it.
Well, I think someone said earlier when we were talking about 70s characters that Shang-Chi wasn't really ever that good a looking. Or like it wasn't a cool look. Recently, I think there was a Warren Ellis Avengers comic book where they kind of dressed him up more like Bruce Lee, in the jumpsuit and everything, which is very 70s
stuff. You really have to pick the right outfit and wear it right for it to look good.
Oh, listen to this. This is some BS. Battle Buddy says the Mutant Massacre was the best crossover, but Swords is cool too. I cannot agree with you. Not only is Swords not cool, but Mutant Massacre was not the best.
Wait, Mutant Massacre, we're not talking about M-Day, are we?
No. Okay. Mutant Massacre would be when the Morlocks got obliterated in the tunnels by the... Oh, God, now I'm showing my dumbness.
It's getting
the Marauders. It was the Marauders, which is like one of the reasons like it was weird that they would have a title for all this new X-Men stuff called Marauders. It's like, you don't want to... That doesn't sound like a good name. That's like the mutant version of a stormtrooper,
Hey...
Exactly. Those guys went in those tunnels and killed those fools. They promised there was going to be like death and everybody was going to, things were going to change. And I thought, oh man, this was some BS. They just killed off nobodies.
Well, look what they did with the freaking, I don't remember who wrote it now because I got so mad, but the relaunch of the X-Men at the beginning of the year-ish, and how like every freaking issue he was killing off a core character, and I'm just like, is that what you would prefer?
That was like, what the hell am I reading? Is really what it was. And it's I think he knew about the regeneration thing, like the rebirthing and what was going to happen.
So it's kind of like you kind of have to think about from the reader's perspective, and I'll stop.
Well, I'm just saying this. The Rosenberg X-Men, where he was killing all those fools off, is in canon, just like this X-Men is in canon. And you can like it, you can love it, you can leave it. I just hope you buy it.
Fair.
Just buy what you like. I'm just joking. There's always something that's good from somebody else, and there's always a writer that's hot. There's always a writer that's on their way to becoming hot, and it's the same way with artists. And you know, they run their little circuits, and you can, if you're lucky, you can be there when just before, like, you recognize that talent. Like you were a scout at baseball, and you knew this guy was going to hit 50 home runs. You could be like, I knew this guy was going to pencil the best Batman ever. I could just tell it when I saw him on Daredevil. And it's like, yeah, they were putting him on Daredevil, getting ready for whatever, you know. They did too. But no, I like when you see someone that's new and up and coming, and you're like, I'm gonna track this person. Hopefully they do a book I like.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I know, I love doing stuff like that.
Yeah. Me too.
It's the hunt. That's the whole appeal.
Well, you know, and
some of it.
you're looking. For me personally, buying comics, there's a certain level I have to maintain of buying like something a little normal, and then if I don't have anything that's like, you know, really scratching the surface any other way, I might just drop it all together for like a novel for a while or something like that. And it's been a long time since I've taken a break from comics. It's been a very long time, but when I did, it was significant, and you miss a lot of stuff. So
yeah,
then you get it's like, you know, but you're supposed to be able to get into it.
Yeah.
You know, but that's what the comic store is for. So if you don't shop at Fantastic Comics, but you do have a local comic book store, go on in. It's a better recommendation than you're going to get from Amazon. You may pay a little bit more, but it'll be right there right that second, especially if they have it right there. I mean, if they have it right there.
And Amazon descriptions have like spoilers, and talking with people in the comics, you can get, you know, recommendations for things similar that would also be appealing that you may not necessarily have known about. It's just a better experience to go.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, we don't have a lot like we used to. I mean, we do have a downstairs that has like extra stuff, but you know, we're curating. Like, if you want to buy something here, we have something else that will be led to another title that you might dig, whether it's like superhero, or maybe you're just like, oh, you know, I really want to read something else by that guy that did Scumbag. Well, I can lead you to one of the many books that he's done. Fear Agent. I'm not going through the list again.
That's the beautiful thing about comics. It's a huge network of things to explore.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for joining me for another episode, Bruja. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, hopefully my internet actually stays alive so I can be around more.
I like being able to talk to you. It's easier when it's just you and me. I feel like I run over you a little bit more if there's a third person or something.
I mean, that's just a conversation with multiple people. So.
It's true. It's true. I just, you know, even when I'm like paying attention to chat, sometimes like I kind of don't hear everything you say, and I'm trying to really pay attention to that kind of stuff, you know.
Being live on a podcast, like you said, you have to like be looking at chat. You have to think about what you're trying to keep track of and listen. And then if you have multiple, it's a lot.
Could you imagine if we were running 25 or 30 people in here? It'd be crazy.
No.
Tell a friend.
I'm Dom, but I don't. That's too much. Too much power, too much
Oh
power.
yeah, before we leave, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, Bruja, in your social media style, let them know about it right now, please.
Oh yeah, I got all sorts of stuff. I've got Instagram with look at my little Shibalba Bruja, and then there's Shibalba's books. There's Shibalba.of. On Twitter, it's Shibalba.of and Empress Vera Ray. There's my OnlyFans, that's Shibalba Bruja and Shibalba Bruja Free.
Speaking of OnlyFans, okay, so since I do a wrestling show, and there was this one wrestler named Zelina Vega, and she's really pretty, cute, good wrestler, great on the mic, just everything you want as a performer in wrestling. And she had a Twitch account, and WWE said that performers weren't supposed to have third-party accounts anymore. So no more YouTube, no more Twitch. And then she did not only did she still have it, but then she did under a different name. She created an OnlyFans account. And it was going to be like no nudity. It was just going to be cosplay stuff, right?
Okay.
Like very so it wasn't like anything over risque or anything like that. But she got fired. Boom.
Oh.
So what happened was, before anybody knew that she got fired, she came out and said something about unionization, like she supports it, which is a big thing within wrestling, a big thing in comic books. These are contract workers that make a lot of money for the company, but ultimately often are not taken care of after the fact. We have seen many I can talk about wrestlers that die. I can talk about wrestlers that are like stuck in a car, not being able to, pay rent, live, all that stuff. You do the same for comic book people.
Oh, yeah.
And you hear a lot of times about them not having health care and being able to take care of themselves. End of life. Sometimes end of life is just like, 38 because of whatever.
Right, especially in things like football and wrestling, like when you do such an intensely physical performance job, some kind of exhibition, like that stuff, it takes a physical toll.
Can you imagine being a penciler hunched over a desk? If you're let's say you can do a page in 2 hours.
Ooh.
And you have to do 20 pages for a monthly comic book. You're lucky, because that's only 2 hours a page.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's like...
It's usually like 8 hours a day, or 8 hours for a page.
Right.
And then you're like the inker. Maybe you are the inker, and then it's an extra, toll.
Not that much more, right?
And there's a lot of people that are in, like, if you're not working for Marvel and DC, and sometimes I hear working for Marvel ain't so great either. But, they're way higher in the pay scale than an IDW or a Boom or a Image doesn't pay people. You create for Image, You might be a person that works for Kirkman and he pays you. But if you're taking your thing over to Image, you've got to put some skin in the game also, and you don't get paid until there's money made. And if there's no money made, you don't get paid.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. People think things.
Yeah.
And there's also a timing issue when people get paid. People don't know about like that kind of stuff in comic books, and it's like a rude awakening. Right. And people will get and so like anytime you're trying to get into something, you're willing to do it for free until you get paid. And then the minute you get paid, I'm never doing it until I get money. You know, I got to make more than what I was doing before. And very rarely, I mean, actors take gigs that make money so that they can do something that's smaller
Just
and
a passion
scale.
project.
Exactly. Comic book artists in the past, to make real money, would go and do advertising and then come back and do comic books. So they would be like kind of slumming it, but you know, that's what they like to do.
Too. Like there are lots of directors we know and love their movies of. They came up from like commercials, like Nike commercials and stuff. So it's like you got to start somewhere. And like you said, like as you know, like a previous chef, kitchen worker. In our realm of things, it's called stage, where you go and you work for a kitchen for free, and you get the experience and the recommendation so that you can go and get a paying job. So, and then you build it up from there. It's just steps of improvement from you gonna be working for free until you actually start making other people money first.
Right. And it feels like in the comic book companies right now, not the talent, but the people behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there was this. All right. Oh, I can't believe we're going on so long. Sorry. I was going to shut us down. If you have Disney Plus, they have this thing called Marvel 616. And it is a documentary piece. Like each one's a documentary about something else in Marvel. And there's this one called The Marvel Method, which is about how Stan Lee would write comic books by telling the person what he wants the book to be, what he wants to have happen in the book. And then the art would come back to him, and then he'd write the words. And in this one, so that's the Marvel Method. But they're talking about this one, they're talking about Iron Man 2020, #1, written by Dan Slott. And this thing, I have not watched it, but everybody that's been talking about it has made it out like Dan Slott is the most, and like it's in video where the editor and the penciler and the letterer are basically shoveling dirt on top of a corpse of Dan Slott, saying this guy can't get his done. And it's hilarious. I mean, I have to watch it now just to see, but it's really crazy. Like, why would this company do that?
Yeah, that seems a little aggro overkill, maybe.
I know. Maybe they're just like trying to embarrass him so much that he'll just leave or something.
Maybe he has like a degradation fetish or something. I don't know.
Oh, it's hilarious. But, you know, that's like talent. But the people behind the scenes just are kind of like, they feel like there's always people that are going to say, oh, yesterday was so wonderful. And, you know, oh, back then was great. And I'm not saying that about editors because I don't know anything about them back in 70s, 80s, 90s or anything like that. I mean, I know a little bit more about the 90s action. But the people that are working now, they don't seem like they really know what's going on. Like they're not in the loop is really what it sounds like.
Yeah, like ever since I started, you know, like at the bookstore and coming and shopping with you and getting back into the comic world, when I stepped in like 3 or 4 years ago, whenever it was now, I felt like comics were so nice and tight, and it was such like a nice place to jump back in. But the last like 2.5, maybe even like 3 years, I feel like things have been getting a little spastic and confused, and they just like everybody in comics, in like all of them, they just need to get together in a writer's room and be like, okay, let's zero out and rebuild this because there's too much going on. We don't know what we're doing. We're starting and stopping too much. It's wasting our time and energy as readers. It's wasting their time and energy trying to create things that we're not into. And it's just like, can comics just clean up? I mean, maybe it's just me, but I feel like they've gotten a little in the last couple years.
We'll explore that in a later date.
Yeah.
We'll get our thoughts together and see what we think is right about comics. We'll do that for like an end of year thing. How's that?
Ooh, yeah.
What is right about comics?
Yeah, things have gone.
And what is not right about
Things
comics?
have been great. Don't make it like, don't think I'm like completely just taking a crap on comics, but
Right.
it definitely, there's been some roller coasters in what comics have been in the last few years. So yeah, let's think about an end of the year thing that we can go over.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
especially because like 2020, we're on a good decade. Like,
What? This is the worst year ever, right?
oh yeah. So yeah, good time to actually.
Hey, I had all my sports
what's
teams
good,
winning
right?
though, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Just like
Let me say hello to Comic Book Steals and Deals and Bob World.
yeah, I was
Hello.
gonna say, coming in as we saying good night.
Yeah, we come in. We start at 8:00 Pacific and usually run for about an hour and a half or 2 hours. I am a comic book store. I am Yule, who owns a comic store called Fantastic Comics in Berkeley, California. Rewatch the show and you can hear me talk about that. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. For those of you that are shopping with me tomorrow, leave a like. Thumbs up, everybody. See you later.